Good morning. I'd like to welcome you on this beautiful snowy day. But I know there are also many people who are still struggling in New Jersey and New York and parts of the Northeast here in Connecticut without heat. So we want to keep them in our thoughts and prayers. But it really is a gorgeous day out there. And it's Hotchkiss week, I know. We're getting psyched for Red Riot. Tomorrow night we're going to be pumped up. But today I want to remind us that we come to morning meeting on Tuesday and Thursdays, and it's different than Wednesday and Saturday where we have assembly, where we have announcements, we have fun skits, and all kinds of great things that we do. But I keep, in a general sense, I'm always trying to remind us that this is our sacred time together. This would be our chapel equivalent experience at another prep school, but in a broad sense, spiritually. And I wanted to share with you a reading about how we enter a meditation hall. It's from a book called Present Moment, Wonderful Moment, Mindfulness Verses for Daily Living by the venerable Zen monk that I love so much from Vietnam, Thich Nhat Hanh. And it begins with a short gatha. A gatha is a Sanskrit word. It means a short rhythmic poem. And so translated to English, it says, entering the meditation room or morning meeting in Bingham, I see my true mind. I vow that once I sit down, all disturbances will stop. In Buddhist centers, and that could be a synagogue, it could be a mosque, it could be a church, it could be some sacred place. In Buddhist centers, the most important room is the meditation hall. It is a calm, peaceful place as we enter. We can stop for a moment, as we're doing here, look inside ourselves and recite this gatha. Then we may join our palms together and bow quietly as we enter the room. I think it would be a good idea for all of us in our household to have a breathing room. We have so many rooms for sleeping, for eating, and so forth. Why not have a room for breathing? Each time we need to return to ourselves, we can go into this simple room and sit quietly, following our breath. Conscious breathing is very important. You'll notice when you're running around, class to class, all of your thoughts, all of your worries, concerns, your breathing's really choppy. But if you have a moment to just stop and breathe, you'll find it brings some sense of serenity and comfort. When we sit down in the lotus posture or the chrysanthemum position and allow our mind to settle, disturbances diminish and we feel calm and alert. The chrysanthemum position is any position you find comfortable and conducive for meditation. You can sit cross-legged on your heels, or you can sit in a chair as you are now. You can even lie down. In the Vietnamese version of the gatha, the word for disturbances is tram luan. It means sinking into and rolling into the ocean of forgetfulness, worries, and afflictions. Stepping into the meditation room, we can remember our desire for complete liberation. By dwelling in the present moment, our steps can establish total freedom so that peace and equanimity are available at once. So we are in the meditation hall now. One more reading, then I have a short video clip for you, and I wanted to end with a brief meditation. And the second reading is called Hearing the Bell, which I'll be ringing after the video. And the gatha for hearing the bell is, listen, listen, this wonderful sound brings me back to my true self. Now this morning I had 9 people at 6 in the morning in the Taft living room meditating. I'm really shocked that 9 of you got up to come out, and that's fantastic. So now I have to get up. I have to get up every Thursday at 6 in the morning and be ready in the meditation room. So listening to the bell, our mind becomes one with the sound as it vibrates along, settles down, and fades away. With the help of the bell, our mind is collected and brought back to the present moment. The bell of mindfulness is the voice of the Buddha, calling us back to ourselves. We have to respect each sound, stop our thinking and talking, and get in touch with ourselves and our breathing and smiling. This is not a Buddha calling from the outside. It is our own inner Buddha. If we cannot hear the sound of the bell, then we cannot hear other sounds, which also come from the Buddha. The whistling of the wind, the songs of the birds, the cries of a baby, the falling fresh snow, even the engines of cars. These are all calls from the Buddha, reminding us to return to our deepest, our truest selves. What is a true self? The true self is a self made of non-self elements. If we are able to look in this way, the word self will no longer be a source of confusion. Practicing with a bell helps us practice conscious breathing and realize that all of nature and all of existence is interdependent. So there are bells everywhere around us. Seeing a friend that we love, family member, is a bell of mindfulness. The birds singing, the snow. You begin to realize it's not just the bell we ring, but it's all things. When we're awake, when we're alive, when we embrace this moment, we don't take our lives for granted and realize the beauty of this life. So this is a little clip. There are many forms of Buddhism. The Buddhism that I've been associated with for many, many years is Vietnamese form of Zen Buddhism, and this is a wonderful monk from the order, Thich Nhat Hanh's order, nun actually, a wonderful nun, and she's going to tell us about the sounds of the bell.
Đẳng nghiêm, it means adornment with non-discrimination. The sound of the bell is very important to me. I can say it saved my life. A lot of suffering arose in me, and sometimes it felt so overwhelming. I couldn't bear it. When I was ordained as a nun, I could invite this big bell. We don't use the word strike because it sounds violent. Invite is something very respectful and very peaceful. And many times I would go to the big meditation hall of New Hamlet, which is in Plum Village, a hamlet for the sisters. And I would invite the bell again and again, sometimes for hours, just to breathe, just to embrace and calm my feelings. And this is my friend. This is me. Thầy teaches us very clearly the steps that we can take to invite the bell. For many of us who live at home and not in a monastery, this is something that you can use. This is a mini bell, and this one is a bell inviter. This one is also considered a bell, and it also has the bell inviter. It's the ritual. It's the establishing the relationship with the bell, that it can mean everything to us. For example, before we invite the bell, we put it straight like that, not crooked. Make sure the bell is straight. We sit quietly with back upright 3 times. In breath, out breath. In breath, out breath. In breath, out breath. That's 3 rounds. Like that. The breath is the sound of the bell. That is the bell that is always with us, because we don't always have access to the big bell or the mini bell. So I have learned to use my breath as my bell of mindfulness that I can come back to every moment in my daily life. Then you can join your palms beautifully like a lotus, right at the level of our heart. We breathe in, breathe out, and that is bowing to the bell, which is the Buddha. The Buddha will make a sound that brings us back to our true home, but also that is bowing to ourselves. So when we sit at the sound of the bell, we are the bell master, and we need to establish body and mind in that mindfulness, in that state of reverence. I reach down, and you can see that one hand I put on the other, because it's difficult to reach down with 2 hands. And I pick up this bell inviter with all the attention and respect. In the Asian culture, when we want to show respect, we always use both hands. And then put it on the palm of the hand, like this, in the lotus, with the petals. And as I hold like this, I can recite the Gatha. My body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May the hearer awaken from forgetfulness and transcend all anxiety and sorrow. it's important to wake up the sound of the bell. Oh, there's a sound of the bell coming. And then we breathe in. In breath 1, out breath. In breath, out breath. 2. In breath, out breath. 3. I breathe in. I breathe out. In breath, you practice with me, okay? Now the third sound, the bell. Being present for what's going on in the mind, manifested through the body. So the bell breathes, and we breathe with the bell. Because we live in the monastery, so we use the big bell more often. In Vietnamese, we call chuông gia trì. And it has a cushion beneath, and it sits on it. Just sit and enjoy breathing until you feel that you are in touch with your breath and your body. It's nice also to put a hand on the rim of the bell and just touch the bell. The bell right now is very cool. I breathe in, join my palms, beautiful lotus. Breathe out, bow to the Buddha in the bell, bow to the Buddha within. I reach out with 2 hands to pick up the bell inviter. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. I enjoy breathing a little more. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness and transcend all anxieties and sorrows. This is a wake-up sound of the bell. In breath, out breath. In breath, out breath. Follow your breathing. Breathe with the bell. Breathe in as we pick up the bell inviter. Breathe out as we invite the bell. I listen to this wonderful sound of the bell that brings me back to my true home. We also use the phone as the bell of mindfulness, which you have with you all the time with people's cell phones. You listen 3 times like that, or at least 2 times, or 1 time, 1 in breath, 1 out breath. The telephone ringing have become our objects of danger, objects of anxiety. And in that way, day after day, year after year, we become more stressful, easily angered, easily saddened. Then we may develop chronic back pain, all sorts of physical and mental illness. So the training, the first part is to train the mind to be with the breath, to be with the body, to recognize what it feels like when the breath and the body are in stress. Honking of other people's cars, to the screaming, yelling of other people, to the harsh sounds of other people. we come back to our body and mind and say, these are bells of mindfulness, and this is what happens to my body. I recognize that. We also say, this is what it feels like when the body is relaxed. This is what it feels like when the mind is at peace with itself. Slowly, the mind learns to calm down and to quiet, and to just taste that moment of quietness, of quietude in the mind is very delicious. The breath is the best music there is. It is the truest reflection of our state of body and mind. The most powerful thing that is in my power, and that is to be able to sit with myself, to be there for whatever that arises. We always have reasons to not enjoy listening to the phone ringing. But that's why it takes a lot of love and compassion for ourselves. It takes discipline also to say, this is for my health, for now and for years to come. This is a true act of love. And it's not about talking, but it's about doing it right in this moment. That is truly an antidote. It's a medicine right there.
I've been to retreats with Thich Nhat Hanh in Rhinebeck, New York, the Omega Center, and week-long retreats in silence. 600 people like this, listening to the sound of the bell, breathing, and then walking meditation down to a beautiful pond. You enter into sort of this stillness. It's subtle, but there's just a different space you're in. And it's all because you're just breathing gently. And so many of the problems, I would say every problem, pretty much in this planet, in this world, is that begins from within, transforming ourselves from within. In the way, our thoughts become our words become our actions in the world. And in order for us to come together as a nation, as a global community, to build the more peaceful, the more loving, the more kind, the more considerate, the more reverent type of living, and living in harmony with the world, this beautiful world, with one another, we have to do inner work, inner transformation. And you can just see from her, this lovely nuns, just the gentleness within her, years of sitting, breathing, and that it just exudes that something that's very attractive to many Americans, many Westerners who are, and of course it's not just Buddhism. It could be, we find this in Christianity, we find it in Judaism, you find it in Islam, you could find it in just being spiritual and not knowing if you're religious or not. But so I want to end with just a 5-minute meditation. I'll ring the bell. We'll listen to some music from Riley Lee, a Hawaiian musician that I used to listen to when I lived out there. And we'll listen, just breathe through your nose, out through your mouth, settle into a nice rhythm. And when the music ends, I'll ring the bell again 3 times, and then we'll just go into this beautiful day together.